back to my channel. I am back with another review, so if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so that you know every time I upload a new video. A lot went down in this episode, so let's just get right into this review. So because Mariah Lynn ended up seeing Smiley dancing in the club with a short skirt on, having a good time, she felt like Smiley was lying about having a miscarriage. Now, don't get me wrong, Mariah is not the only person that thought that she was lying. Pretty much all the girls in the house think that she's lying about it, which is really weird to me because just because she's not acting the way that they think you're supposed to act after a miscarriage doesn't mean that she didn't actually have one, and I really think that it's weird that they're all questioning this. And during this little meetup between Mariah, Natalie, and the rest of the girls, they were all talking about how they wanted to have a house meeting and that everybody would address her and tell her that they think that she's lying about the miscarriage. And Rolly said that Mariah can finally get her chain back, which was really weird to me because at the end of the day, you don't question somebody about their body. And then at the same time, Mariah Lynn needs to get her chain on her own because at the end of the day, that's her beef, not anybody else's. And Mariah Lynn has been sitting in this house with this girl for all these episodes and hasn't done anything about this chain. And now she's going to everybody trying to get them all riled up with her about her miscarriage so that they can all have her back when she decides to finally confront Smiley about her chain. So because all the girls are in separate houses, Natalie had to tell the other girls to come to their house so that they can have a house meeting. And before the house meeting, Natalie ends up meeting up with Sapphire and Sukiana. Now, during this little conversation, Natalie starts telling Sukiana and Sapphire that Smiley is a liar and that she's been stirring up trouble. And then she starts talking about Biggie and how Rolly beat her up. And then she starts talking about how T got beat up by Rolly as well. She was basically trying to get Sukiana and Sapphire to have a problem with the girls that she doesn't care for and have them look favorably at the girls that she does like, which I thought was really messy. At least on the Bad Girls Club, we didn't see the producers being messy. We didn't see it because they did it behind the scenes. Natalie does it right out front and we can see her being messy and stirring up drama. Now, when the other girls get to the house, that's when Natalie ends up putting together the house meeting, and that's when Rolly ended up addressing Smiley. She started questioning Smiley about her miscarriage, telling her that she thinks that she's not being truthful, and when Smiley tried to explain herself, that's when Rolly ended up cutting her off. Rolly started saying that she wanted to see the discharge papers from the hospital so that she can see if Smiley really had a miscarriage. And I thought that that was really weird that she would even ask to see those hospital papers because at the end of the day, she's not entitled to see that. Smiley doesn't have to show them her paperwork. Like, what is wrong with Rolly? And that's when Sukiana ended up jumping into the conversation because she has a bone to pick with Smiley as well. According to Sukiana, before the season started filming, she ended up getting a text message from Smiley, and Smiley started talking about how she took her best friend Mariah's chain, basically trying to stir up some drama with Sukiana. And Sukiana took that text message as if Smiley was trying to fight her because basically if you're saying, oh, I took your friend's chain, what are you going to do about it? That means you want to fight. And I can understand why Sukiana felt the way that she felt. And I thought that it was very necessary for her to address Smiley about the text message. And the two of them were having a conversation. And like I said in my last review, I did respect the fact that Sukiana said that she wasn't going to talk about the miscarriage because she doesn't know anything about it. Now, I do think that Smiley was wrong for sending the text message to Sukiana, and I think that Sukiana handled it well because she didn't end up fighting the girl for it, but I do think that, Smiley does need to take accountability for that because she was being messy before she got into the house, and I don't know if she felt like she needed to do that because that's the way to make it on the show, but she went about it the wrong way, and now she's dealing with the repercussions of it. And now this is where Mariah's chain ends up coming up in conversation because Smiley was asked if she actually melted down the chain to make a ring for her son. And when she said no, Rolly got pissed off and threw a drink in her face because she said that she was lying. Apparently, Smiley told people that she melted it down to make a ring for her son, but she's claiming that she didn't, so that's the reason why she got the drink thrown in her face. So when Smiley ends up standing up and taking off her sweater because she thinks that she's going to have to fight Rolly, that's when Mariah Lynn comes out of nowhere and she hits her from the side. Now, at this point, Mariah Lynn and Smiley are fighting and Mariah Lynn ends up falling backwards on the couch, and that's when Smiley is on top of her and the two of them are fighting. Now, when the fight ends up getting broken up, Sapphire realizes that Mariah Lynn still doesn't have her chain back. Meanwhile, Smiley goes into the kitchen and she's leaning over the counter because she doesn't feel good. She said that she's on medication, she's still in pain, and she's still bleeding from the miscarriage. Now, Sapphire and Sukiana are pissed off when they realize that Mariah Lynn still doesn't have her chain back, so they start yelling at Mariah Lynn to go get her chain. So Mariah Lynn ends up going into the kitchen where Smiley is, and she starts hitting her from the back as Smiley is walking away. So Smiley tries to turn around, and she's kind of pushing Mariah Lynn out the way, and that's when Sapphire ends up grabbing Smiley from the back. Now, while Sapphire is holding Smiley by her neck from the back, that's when Mariah Lynn starts hitting her, and Sapphire gets pissed off once that gets broken up because she still realizes that Smiley is still wearing a chain around her neck. Now, mind you, the chain that's on Smiley's neck is her chain. It's not Mariah Lynn's chain, but I can understand why they want to take it from her, because if she can take Mariah's chain, then her chain can get snatched too. So that's when the fight ended up getting broken up, and that's when Sapphire got annoyed at the fact that Mariah still wasn't getting the chain. So she grabbed Smiley again and she dropped her onto the floor, and she took the chain off of her neck and gave it to Mariah. Now, at this point, Smiley is in a different room and she's crying and she's yelling to Camila that she's upset at the fact that people who didn't have anything to do with the situation between her and Mariah got involved, and she wants her chain back. She's saying that she's still bleeding and that she's still in pain, and she doesn't understand why she was attacked. Now, although Smiley cannot play a victim in this situation because she did take Mariah's chain, and if she can take somebody else's chain, then somebody can take hers too, and she should have known that this was going to happen at some point, I still don't think that Sapphire and Sukiana or even Rolly should have gotten involved in it. Now, I don't think that anybody thinks that it's wrong that Mariah wanted her chain back and that she ended up snatching Smiley's chain. I think what people have an issue with is the fact that she didn't do it herself. She needed backup in order to do it. Now, Mariah Lynn did not ask the other girls to get involved in it, but she waited until they had an issue with Smiley and they were addressing her for her to address the situation with her chain when she had so many opportunities to get her chain back. And Natalie is just so messy because instead of trying to calm the situation down, she's recording and laughing at it, and I just don't think that that's right. She's at least supposed to act like she doesn't have favorites, but instead she just shows it right out front. Mariah said the whole reason why she decided to fight Smiley in the first place in this episode is because she wanted to fight her for her sister, because, you know, Smiley ended up getting into it with Mariah's sister at the auditions. She ended up snatching the microphone out of Mariah's sister's hand, so Mariah Lynn's sister went up to her and the two of them started fighting. Now, I understand that Mariah Lynn wanted to take up for her sister, but her sister handled her own in that fight with Smiley. Like, she defended herself pretty well. I don't really think that she needed Mariah's help at all. And Sapphire and Sukiana think that they did the right thing in this situation because they're high-fiving each other, claiming that they bullied the bully. But at the same time, I think that they should have stayed out of it, because right now, I saw a video of Sukiana going off on Mariah Lynn, claiming that Mariah Lynn wanted everybody else to fight her battles. And she said that she wants to fight Mariah when she sees her. So at this point, what was the reason for her even putting a cape on and trying to defend Mariah Lynn in the first place? I would understand other people getting involved to defend Mariah Lynn if Smiley had jumped Mariah or had other people help her steal her chain, but because that didn't happen and she did it on her own, I don't think that anybody should have helped Mariah Lynn. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think that the other girls are wrong for thinking that Smiley shouldn't have been acting like a bully taking Mariah Lynn's chain, because she was wrong for that and they have a right to express that, but I don't think anybody else should have touched Smiley, nor should they have been questioning her about her miscarriage, because that didn't have anything to do with them either. But I do agree with Sapphire when she told Mariah Lynn that she should have never been trying to be cordial with Smiley in the first place, knowing that the girl still had her chain. If she would have gotten her chain back and then she decided to be cordial with Smiley, that would have been one thing. But her being cordial with the girl when she knows that she still had her chain makes Mariah Lynn look weak, in my opinion. Everybody kept saying that Smiley looked weak because she didn't want to fight, but I think that Mariah Lynn looked weak because she needed a battery in her back to fight. Now, despite all the drama that went down in the house, they still ended up going to a club hosting at the end of the night. Smiley and T didn't end up going, but the other girls did. And what was funny to me is that they just finished ganging up on Smiley, and then they thought they were going to have a good time at the club. But when they showed up at the club, they were asked to leave, and I thought that that was really funny. Now, the next day, they had to go to the next city. They were going to New York. And while they were on the bus on their way to the next city, Biggie ended up getting really annoyed at Camila because Camila ended up asking her how she felt about being a replacement this season, because Biggie was an original last season and now she's a replacement. That really seemed to piss off Biggie, but I really didn't think that Camila meant any harm by it, because let's be real, Camila was a replacement on her season and she was still popular, so I don't think that it was that big of a deal, but Biggie did take offense to it. And then the girls who were with Natalie ended up getting a nicer house than the girls who weren't with Natalie. And I just don't think that that's fair. Like, I don't like the favoritism that Natalie plays on this show. And then on top of that, I just feel like because of the whole favoritism thing, I don't think that she should be a part of the cast. I think Natalie should just be behind the scenes. I don't think that she should be a part of the cast if she's going to play favorites. Now, Anna, Camila, and Biggie ended up asking Smiley why she was so quiet now, and I honestly thought that that was a stupid question for them to ask her because obviously she's being quiet because of what just happened to her. I don't know why they expect her to be loud and obnoxious when she just got into a fight, and she claims that she had a miscarriage and she still had to fight anyway. I really do like Anna and I want to continue to like Anna, but some of the things that she says kind of gets on my nerves a little bit because I don't understand why she was sitting there calling, Smiley weak because she didn't want to fight and because she wasn't acting like her normal self. I just don't understand the point of that. But I do think that it was irrelevant that a lot of people were bringing up the fact that, Anna was weak too because when Krishan pressed her at the beginning of the season, she didn't want to fight her because at the end of the day, she wasn't going to be able to fight Krishan even if she wanted to because Krishan was pregnant. So I really think that that was irrelevant to bring up. Now, when they ended up getting to New York, some of the girls told Natalie that they had an issue with the fact that everything was separate all the time. Like, they always ride to the next city separately, and then they stay in separate houses. And Natalie agreed with that, apparently, but she did say that the reason why she separates them is because they fight too much. But that's the reason why she said that she wanted to have a house meeting. Now, Sapphire and Sukiana started taking off their jewelry because they want to address Smiley when they see her because of a post that she made on social media. She ended up posting that she got jumped 2 days after she had a miscarriage, and they seem to have an issue with that. So when the other girls show up, they end up all standing in a circle, and that's when Rolly ended up confronting Smiley about the post that she made because she felt like Smiley was referring to her when she said that she got jumped. Now, Smiley did not put anybody's name in that post, so I don't understand why Rolly felt like she was being addressed in it because they ended up showing a screenshot of it in the episode, and I didn't see anybody's name included in it. Now, Sapphire ended up addressing Smiley because she said that she didn't like that she was saying that she got jumped because she didn't feel like she jumped Smiley. Now, I feel like Smiley was jumped. I don't think that she had a severe jumping like a lot of other people have in the past, but I do think that she was jumped because 2-on-1 is jumping in my opinion. Now, when Smiley was telling Sapphire and Sukiana that she did feel like she got jumped, that's when Sapphire said that she wanted to fight Smiley because she felt like she was being disrespected. Now, I don't understand why Smiley thinking that she got jumped is a reason for Sapphire to want to fight her. I'm starting to kind of think that Sapphire just wanted a moment because I don't even understand why she fought Smiley in the first place. I mean, Smiley didn't do anything to her. And when Smiley said that she didn't want to fight, that's when Natalie starts going off on Smiley, telling her that every day there's some drama with her and that if she doesn't want to fight, she can just leave. And I don't think that's right because I don't think that Smiley should have to fight if she doesn't want to. I mean, Natalie didn't want to fight Tasiki when Tasiki wanted to fight her. And I guess everybody has to fight now and they have to leave if they don't want to fight because if Smiley has to fight, everybody else has to, right? And even though Smiley said she didn't want to fight, Sapphire ended up running up on her anyway, and the two of them ended up fighting, which I don't think is right because although Sapphire said that she wasn't a bully and she doesn't like bullying, fighting somebody who said they don't want to fight does make you a bully. So when Sapphire runs up, the two of them start fighting. Now, the episode ended there, and I did think that this episode was a hot mess, but at the same time, the next episode is a hot mess too because Mariah Lynn ends up giving Smiley's chain to her sister, and when Smiley ends up seeing Mariah Lynn's sister at the club, the two of them start fighting. And I also forgot to mention that Smiley did end up giving Mariah Lynn her pendant back at the very end of this episode. So those are my thoughts on this week's episode of Baddies East. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button for me. I appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos and hit the notification bell so that you know every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed to my channel. I appreciate you all. And until next time, I will talk to you guys in my next video.